So then guys, great news, the release of the iPhone 16e has finally happened. And I for one am super excited to get my hands on this budget new iPhone from Apple. So the 16e is going to be replacing the likes of the iPhone SE that we have right now, like I've got right here. And to be honest, I even showed you a leak of this earlier in the week saying that this is what's going to happen. It's going to be the 16e and we're no longer going to have the SE anymore. But today what I want to do for you is I want to do a review of specs for you by comparing the iPhone SE 3rd generation to the iPhone 16e in what differences we have between the last generation budget iPhone to this one. So let's get started then with this review of specs, and let me get started with the chart. So let me show you here. So as you can see, we have the iPhone SE 3rd generation on the left and we have the brand new iPhone 16 on the right for this comparison review. And let's get started right away. So to start with then, with the display type, things have changed a lot here. The last iPhone SE 3rd generation was one of the last devices out there to have the old LED Retina display. Remember, we've had this same kind of Retina display ever since the iPhone 4, and finally it's completely phased out. All of Apple's iPhones are all OLED displays now. So we now have the OLED XDR display. Very similar display to what we had in the iPhone 14. What's very similar to what we have in the likes of the iPhone 15 and also the 16 and 16 Plus. So this is really great to see that we've got this upgrade right here. Then after this, the actual screen size, we move on to this, we can see we have a massive difference now. We've actually got a 6.1 inch display compared to the 4.7 inch display what we had on the old iPhone SE 3rd generation. And also, as you can see from this picture right here, we no longer have Touch ID, the button at the bottom. We have Face ID included, but obviously no dynamic island. It is in a notch here. So this is great to see if you're a big fan of Face ID. But then for the actual screen resolution, let's have a look at the differences here. With the iPhone SE 3rd generation, we actually had a 16:9 screen that had a resolution of 1334 by 750, whereas the 16e has a resolution of 2532 by 1170 now. And then what that means then in pixels per inch, well, the old iPhone SE used to get 326 pixels per inch, or PPI, whereas the iPhone 16e is way ahead now at 460 pixels per inch, or PPI, and this is amazing to see. Now, one thing we didn't get a refresh now on this budget iPhones, or both of them, is we never got actually ProMotion, and it looks like this is staying exactly the same. And this kind of makes sense because the normal iPhone 16 and the 16 Plus doesn't have ProMotion, so obviously this budget phone is not going to get it too. So what we actually have then, we've got a 60 Hz display, but do remember that with an OLED display, it is going to look a lot better with everything. So yeah, just be aware of that. Then for the actual screen brightness, well, this is a great one to see. The original iPhone SE 3rd generation, well, same like the 2nd generation, it only went up to 625 nits of brightness, but we can actually go up to 1200 nits in HDR on the iPhone 16, and this is brilliant to see. You can definitely get a brighter picture when you're out and about during the day. Then after this, we've actually got the processor, the CPU, and this is probably one of the biggest changes that you're going to get here. We had the original A15 inside the iPhone SE 3rd generation. It was a 6-core CPU, 4-core GPU, and the 16-core neural engine. But the iPhone 16 also has a 6-core CPU, but it also has a 4-core GPU. Now, funny enough, if you got the iPhone 16 or the 16 Plus, that actually has a 5-core GPU. So it's one less core here. But we've also got the 16-core neural engine too inside of this. Then for RAM, this is where there is a double upgrade here. We used to have the iPhone SE and the 3rd gen, used to have 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now we are up to 8 gigabytes of RAM with that A18. This is going to be great for multitasking, all those great bits and pieces. So this is fantastic news to hear. For storage wise though, Everything has gone up by one tier now. So we used to get 64, 128 and 256 gigabytes on the SE 3rd generation, but now we have 128 gigabytes, 256 and 512 gigabytes. For operating system, both of these can run iOS 18 out of the box, which is going to be great to see, but obviously with the iPhone 16 having that A18 chip inside of it, you're going to get at least 6 years, maybe probably 7 years of updates with this phone, and also we're going to get lots of Apple Intelligent goodies, what I'll talk about a little bit later on. But then for the actual battery life, now this is something what's incredible here. We actually are getting up to 26 hours of battery life with the iPhone 16e, and the main reason behind that is because of the new C1 chip that Apple have shown us now. It's their own custom-made modem now for Wi-Fi and also for cellular, so this is fantastic news. And this means if you were to watch local video on either of these phones, so this is where it's stored on your actual storage, not using Wi-Fi or anything like that, you can actually get up to 26 hours on the iPhone 16e compared to the 15 hours what you used to get on the iPhone SE 3rd generation. And the main reason behind that is obviously we've also had a spec up in battery size. The iPhone SE 3rd generation had a 2018 milliamp battery inside of it, and now we've got a battery what's over 50% larger in the iPhone 16e, what's 3279 milliamp battery. And do remember also the A18 is far more efficient. Also that C1 chip is all helping out, and of course also the OLED display too. Everything is just all helping out to give a far better battery life experience, what is great to see. So moving on then for this for wired and wireless charging, well, the old iPhone SE 3rd generation charged at 18 watts and also 7 watts. Obviously we had lightning with that as well, but with the iPhone 16e we can actually charge up to 27 watts wired charging USB-C, but we've also got 15 watts wireless charging also enabled on the iPhone 16e, so this is definitely a good bump up here, what we have got then compared to the last generation. Then moving on then to the weight. Now you might think the iPhone 16 is really heavy now compared to the iPhone SE 3rd generation. Well, to be honest, it's not that much in it. It's actually only around about 20 grams more, just over 20 grams more. So we used to get with the iPhone SE 3rd generation, that used to be 144 grams, whereas the 16e is 167 grams. Now, an interesting fact for you, the tampered glass for the iPhone SE 3rd generation, if you got that over the whole phone, actually weighed about 11 grams. So can you imagine if you actually got two of them stacked on top of your iPhone SE? I know you wouldn't do that, but that would come to around about the same weight as the iPhone 16 right now, with the 16e right now. So this is quite incredible when you've got to think of it from that point of view. But then moving on then to water resistance, we've actually been spec'd up a little bit more now. The old iPhone SE 3rd generation used to have IP67, so this means it could go into water up to 2 meters deep, up to 30 minutes, clear water obviously, whereas the iPhone 16e is IP68, so this means it can go down into 6 meters of water for 30 minutes, clear water, and obviously it'll be far more protected. Now obviously if you put it in sea water or other type of water, you're going to get different results, but that is the actual rating then for clear water. For ports wise though, things have changed again. We used to have the lightning port, and now literally all of the iPhones are now gone with lightning altogether, and now we just only have USB-C on the iPhone, and the iPhone 16e does actually have that now. USB-C charging, the first budget iPhone to get this. What's awesome. Then for stereo speakers, well, we used to have just one stereo speaker on the iPhone SE on the 3rd generation, and now we actually have two on the iPhone 16e. So this is great to see from Apple that they've done this. Then the big question is all to do with Apple Intelligence. The iPhone SE, obviously the 3rd generation with the A15, could not support Apple Intelligence whatsoever, but the iPhone 16e can. And that is a great thing now that this is a budget iPhone that you can get with Apple Intelligence. So this is fantastic to see. For Bluetooth technology, well, it looks like we've now got the same again. We've got Bluetooth 5.3 on this, so exactly the same on both of them, so no differences there. But for Wi-Fi, not much has changed here either. We've actually got Wi-Fi 6 now, and like I said, this new Wi-Fi 6 has been created by Apple and it's in both these phones, but what I would be saying with the 16e is obviously it's a bit more efficient in utilizing using that Wi-Fi and obviously won't drain your battery as fast. For rear cameras, there is a difference here. We used to have in the iPhone SE 3rd generation the same camera that was also in the 2nd generation. What was also the same camera what was in the iPhone 8. And how many years ago was that? That was like 2017. So we're talking like 8 years ago. We've had the same camera sensor along on these phones. But finally, with the iPhone 16e, we've got the 48 megapixel wide camera inside, the sensor inside it. This is the exact same one what you will find in the wide of the iPhone 16 Pro models and also the iPhone 16 and the 16 Plus. And this is incredible to actually have because this allows us to go up to a 2x zoom kind of resolution with that. And this is a great camera to have inside of this budget phone. But then moving over to the front camera, we've had an upgrade here too. So the single lens on the front of the iPhone SE was only a 7 megapixel and wasn't the best 1080p camera, but now we have the same 12 megapixel camera, what we had all the way up to say the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Plus, not in the Pro models, and that has now been put inside of this 16e, what's still a great selfie camera and also gives us up to 4K resolution with that. Then finally, the price. So the original iPhone SE 3rd generation, like the 2nd generation, came in at $429. But remember, we had 64 gigabytes of storage with that. The 16e now does have 128 gigabytes as its base amount storage inside of it, and this starts out $599 for this. So this is definitely $170 more, but obviously we are getting a lot more features here. The 3rd generation, a lot of people thought it was not worth $429 for what you got with it. But you know, when you actually compare what you're actually getting here compared to say the other generations of iPhones here and also the 16 and also the 16 Pro models, well, this could be competitive, you could argue. But with that then, what iPhone model will you be buying? So as we can see, we've had some big changes compared to the iPhone SE 3rd generation, and it does look good, the iPhone 16e. I probably think the only one downer from my point of view has got to be that, you know, kind of more than $170 price tag more for it. I don't think it's quite worth that. I think it should have been $499 in my opinion, but you've got to realize you are getting the latest chip, you know, you're getting OLED display, you're getting all these other bits and pieces too, but I just wish it was a bit cheaper. But like I said, going into the future, probably be able to get it from, you know, different carriers and things like this for equivalent of that price with all your data and minutes and whatever with that. So yeah, just be aware of that. In a few months time it probably will come down in price, not from Apple themselves though, just be aware of that. But what do you think of the iPhone 16e? Do you think it's a worthy replacement to the iPhone SE 3rd generation? And if you own one of these right now, are you going to be upgrading? Or if you own an older iPhone, are you going to be upgrading to the 16e? Well, let me know in the comments below. And on that note as well, guys, it's time to wrap up this video too. So if you have enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button. Also, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.